Ever felt invisible in the face of disrespect? It's infuriating, isn't it? But what if I told you there's a way to command respect without ever raising your voice? These 5 timeless Stoic principles will not just transform how others see you, but how you see yourself. Disrespect is something we all face at some point, whether it's a dismissive tone from a coworker, an eye roll from someone close to you, or a stranger who simply doesn't value your presence. How you respond defines whether you become their victim or emerge unshaken. Stoicism, the ancient philosophy of resilience and inner strength, provides a roadmap for handling disrespect with grace and unyielding strength. Today, we're diving into 5 powerful strategies inspired by Stoic philosophy that will empower you to take control, reclaim your dignity, and inspire respect without ever compromising your values. Disrespect can chip away at your confidence. It's not always loud or obvious. It's often subtle, like being spoken over in a conversation, having your ideas dismissed, or feeling like your boundaries don't matter to someone else. The real challenge is how you react. Do you lash out, hoping to prove yourself? Do you shrink back, convincing yourself it's not worth the fight? Neither of these responses serves you in the long run. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most renowned Stoic philosophers, reminds us, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." So how do you apply this ancient wisdom in modern life? By mastering these 5 strategies, you'll no longer react impulsively to disrespect. Instead, you'll act with clarity and purpose, turning every challenge into an opportunity to reinforce your worth. 1. Detach yourself from their opinion. One of the foundational principles of Stoicism is recognizing the boundary between what you can control and what you cannot. This mindset, championed by the Stoic philosopher Epictetus, is encapsulated in his words. "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Disrespect, though often unpleasant, is ultimately external to you. It stems from the other person's character, their perceptions, and their values, not yours. Internalizing their behavior gives them power over you, but by learning to separate your self-worth from their opinion, you remain unshaken. Imagine this. Picture yourself standing in a vast open field during a storm. The wind howls, the rain pours, but none of it touches the core of who you are unless you allow it. This is the essence of detaching yourself from others' opinions, letting the storm rage around you while remaining steady at your center. A lesson from history. In ancient Rome, a Stoic senator was publicly criticized by a political rival during a debate. The rival's insults were sharp and intended to provoke a reaction, yet the senator, rather than retaliating, simply listened, smiled, and responded with a calm, measured remark that dismissed the accusations without descending into a verbal battle. His composure left the rival looking petty, and the audience admired the senator's strength and dignity. This was Stoicism in action, responding not with anger, but with grace and control, the psychological power of detachment. When you detach from others' opinions, you strip their words of their power to hurt you. The more you allow someone's disrespect to dictate your emotions, the more you reinforce their influence over you. By contrast, when you remain composed, you undermine their attempts to provoke you and maintain control over your internal state. Practical steps to detach. 1. Pause before reacting. Take a deep breath and remind yourself that their behavior says more about them than it does about you. 2. Reframe the situation. See their disrespect as an opportunity to practice self-control and resilience. 3. Repeat a Stoic mantra. Phrases like, "Their opinion doesn't define me," or "This is beyond my control," can ground you in moments of tension. Application in your life. Let's say a colleague undermines your ideas during a meeting, dismissing them in front of others. Instead of reacting defensively or emotionally, pause. Consider the possibility that their dismissal might stem from insecurity or a need to assert dominance. Respond with a calm, well-thought-out statement, such as, "I understand your perspective. Here's why I believe this idea has value." By staying composed, you assert your position without giving them the satisfaction of a reaction. Ultimately, detachment doesn't mean indifference. It means choosing not to let others' negativity dictate your emotional state. It's about reclaiming your inner peace and staying true to your principles, no matter what storms rage around you. 2. Set boundaries without apology. Stoicism teaches us to maintain our integrity and composure while ensuring that we uphold our own sense of respect and dignity. The philosopher Seneca once advised, "Associate with those who will make a better man of you. Welcome those whom you yourself can improve. The process is mutual, for men learn while they teach." This wisdom underlines the importance of surrounding yourself with individuals who uplift and respect you, and of distancing yourself from those who don't. Setting boundaries is not an act of aggression, it's a declaration of self-respect. Stoicism encourages firmness without unnecessary conflict, allowing you to protect your mental and emotional space without being combative. Imagine this. Think of your personal space as a fortress. The walls are strong but not impenetrable, allowing meaningful connections to enter while keeping out those who bring harm or disrespect. When someone crosses a line, you don't need to respond with hostility. Instead, you calmly but firmly reinforce the boundaries of your fortress. A story of standing firm. Consider a young professional named Maria who worked in a competitive corporate environment. Her boss, though talented, had a habit of interrupting her during meetings, often dismissing her contributions before she could finish her thoughts. Frustrated but determined to address the issue constructively, Maria waited for a one-on-one meeting. She said calmly, "I've noticed that I often get interrupted during meetings. When that happens, it makes me feel like my input isn't being valued. I'd really appreciate the chance to fully express my ideas." Her approach was measured and respectful. She didn't point fingers or accuse. She simply stated her perspective and requested a change. This assertiveness not only earned her boss's respect, but also subtly educated him on the value of attentive communication. Why boundaries matter. When you set boundaries, you teach others how to treat you. People often test limits, intentionally or unintentionally, and your response determines whether the behavior continues. Boundaries are not barriers, they're guidelines that foster healthier relationships and mutual respect. Practical tips for setting boundaries. 1. Use I statements. Instead of saying, "You always interrupt me," try, "I feel unheard when I'm interrupted." This shifts the focus from blame to your feelings, making the conversation less confrontational. 2. Stay calm and neutral. Your tone can make or break the conversation. Speak firmly but without aggression, ensuring that your message is heard without defensiveness. 3. Walk away if needed. If someone refuses to respect your boundaries, silence or physical removal can speak volumes. As Marcus Aurelius advised, the best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. Applying this to your life. Imagine a family member who habitually criticizes your choices at gatherings. Instead of getting defensive, respond calmly. "I appreciate your concern, but I feel judged when you comment on my decisions. I'd like us to focus on enjoying our time together instead." If they persist, let your silence reinforce your stance, showing that you won't engage in unproductive conflict. Setting boundaries without apology is an act of courage. It signals that you value your own worth and that you expect the same respect from others. By doing so, you build stronger, more respectful relationships while maintaining your peace of mind. 3. Embrace the power of silence. Sometimes the best response is no response at all. As Epictetus wisely put it, silence is safer than speech. In a world filled with noise where every insult or disrespect demands a reply, silence becomes a weapon of strength. When faced with disrespect or provocation, the natural instinct may be to retaliate, to defend your honor or prove your worth. However, reacting can often fuel the fire of conflict, giving the other person the exact satisfaction they seek. Instead of allowing them that power, step back and let silence do the talking. Why it works. In Stoicism, silence isn't merely the absence of sound, but a conscious choice to withhold unnecessary engagement. It embodies the Stoic virtue of temperance, choosing self-control over impulsive reaction. When you choose silence in the face of provocation, you retain your inner peace and refuse to let external events disturb your tranquility. This power of non-reaction is not only a mark of inner strength, but also a signal to others that you are not easily moved by their attempts to unsettle you. Example. Story. There was once a young philosopher who found himself in a heated debate with a senior rhetorician, a master of words, known for his sharp tongue and quick wit. The older man ridiculed the young philosopher at every opportunity, trying to provoke a defensive response. Instead of rising to the bait, the young philosopher remained calm. He didn't argue, didn't try to one-up the rhetorician with a clever comeback. He simply smiled, listened, and allowed the older man to finish his verbal barrage. When the rhetorician was done, the young philosopher nodded politely, thanked him for sharing his thoughts, and left the debate with grace. The audience, having witnessed the exchange, was far more impressed by the philosopher's composure than the rhetorician's sharpness. In a world where everyone craves the last word, the philosopher's silence spoke volumes about his strength of character and his ability to remain undisturbed by others' attempts to provoke him. How to apply this? Pause before reacting. When faced with disrespect or provocation, take a deep breath and give yourself a moment to assess the situation. Ask yourself if responding will truly add value or if it will only escalate the situation. Walk away when necessary. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is walk away. By removing yourself from the situation without saying a word, you send a clear message that their words don't have power over you. Let your silence speak for you. Silence can be a response in itself. It's a reflection of your ability to maintain composure, of your refusal to be dragged into meaningless conflict. It tells others that you have no need to engage with negativity. Cultivate patience. The next time you're faced with a disrespectful comment or an argument that's going nowhere, remind yourself of the philosopher's strength. Don't feel compelled to respond. Let your patience and self-control shine through. Practical tip. The next time you encounter disrespect, whether in person, online, or in any situation, take a step back. Imagine how you would feel if you chose silence over words. Sometimes the absence of a response is louder than any words could ever be. 4. Focus on your inner growth. Ultimately, respect starts from within. If you constantly seek validation from others, you hand them the power to determine your self-worth. Instead, true respect is cultivated from a deep, unwavering confidence in yourself. When you focus on your inner growth, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, you become less dependent on the opinions of others. External validation becomes unnecessary because your value is rooted in who you are, not what others think of you. Why it works. In Stoicism, self-respect is built on the foundation of self-mastery. You cannot control the actions or words of others, but you can control your thoughts, feelings, and reactions. If you constantly look to others for approval, you allow them to dictate your emotional state. But when you focus on your own development and cultivate a strong inner foundation, no amount of external negativity or disrespect can shake you. The Stoics believed that true power lies in one's ability to master the self, and that inner peace and self-worth are the greatest forms of respect you can earn. Marcus Aurelius's advice. One of the most profound pieces of wisdom comes from Marcus Aurelius, who said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." This insight emphasizes the power of mindset. If you consistently feed your mind with empowering, positive thoughts, you begin to embody those qualities. If you focus on growth, wisdom, and inner peace, your soul will reflect that growth. When you fill your mind with positive beliefs about yourself, your inner world will be strong, unshakable by external judgments. This aligns with the Stoic principle that external events do not disturb you, only your thoughts and reactions to them do. Example. Story. Consider the story of a struggling artist who faced constant criticism from peers and critics. Early in his career, his work was ridiculed and dismissed. Rather than seeking approval or becoming bitter, he chose to focus on his craft. He spent countless hours honing his skills, embracing failure as part of the process, and continually improving. Over the years, his art evolved and his dedication to growth paid off. As his reputation grew, those same critics who had once belittled him began to admire his work. The respect he sought did not come from seeking validation, but from his unwavering commitment to improving himself. In time, the respect flowed toward him naturally, but only because he had respected himself enough to focus on his own growth rather than seeking approval from others. How to apply this? Cultivate self-respect. The first step in this process is to start respecting yourself. This doesn't mean arrogance, but a quiet confidence rooted in knowing your value, independent of others' opinions. When you are at peace with who you are, the opinions of others become irrelevant. Invest in your growth. Spend time daily on activities that contribute to your growth, whether it's reading, meditating, exercising, or learning new skills. The more you develop yourself mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, the less likely you are to seek validation from external sources. Embrace imperfection. Understand that growth is a process. You will not be perfect, but every step you take toward becoming the best version of yourself is worth celebrating. Allow yourself to make mistakes and learn from them. Affirm your worth. Start each day with affirmations or a practice that reinforces your worth and potential. A simple exercise like looking in the mirror and telling yourself, "I am worthy of respect," can set the tone for your day. Over time, this will strengthen your sense of self, making you less reliant on the approval of others. Practical exercise. Write down 3 qualities you admire in others. These could be traits like resilience, kindness, or patience. Now, consciously work on cultivating those same qualities within yourself. For instance, if you admire someone's ability to stay calm under pressure, practice staying composed in challenging situations. If you admire someone's generosity, look for small ways to give and share. The more you embody these qualities, the more you'll respect yourself. As you grow into the person you want to be, others will naturally respect you too. It won't be forced or sought after. It will be a natural byproduct of your own transformation. Daily practice. Tip: set aside time each day for self-reflection. Ask yourself, how did I grow today? And what can I do tomorrow to continue growing? This practice will ensure that your focus remains on progress, not perfection, and will keep you grounded in your own self-worth rather than the fleeting opinions of others. 5. Lead by example. The Stoics firmly believed that actions speak louder than words. If you desire respect, the most powerful way to earn it is by embodying the virtues you want others to adopt. Marcus Aurelius encapsulated this idea when he said, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." Instead of demanding respect, live in a way that naturally commands it. Respect in this context is not about power or dominance. It's about inspiring others through your integrity, humility, and consistent character. Leading by example requires you to rise above pettiness and negativity, holding yourself to a higher standard even when others do not. The philosophy in action. Picture yourself as a lighthouse in a storm. The raging winds and crashing waves symbolize disrespectful behavior, but the lighthouse remains steadfast, guiding others through its unwavering light. This is the essence of leading by example, remaining constant and upright, regardless of the chaos around you. Story of grace and transformation. Consider a high school teacher named Mr. Daniels, who taught a class filled with unruly students. One student in particular made it his mission to disrupt every lesson with sarcastic comments and disrespectful behavior. Instead of reacting with anger or punishment, Mr. Daniels responded with unwavering patience and respect. When the student interrupted, Mr. Daniels would pause, listen, and then calmly redirect the conversation. He also took the time to praise the student whenever he contributed positively, however rare it was. Over weeks, the student's behavior began to shift. He stopped seeking attention through disruption and started engaging with the material. Eventually, he approached Mr. Daniels and apologized, admitting that the teacher's kindness had made him rethink his actions. This story illustrates a simple but profound truth. Respect is often reciprocated when you consistently demonstrate it, even to those who seem undeserving. Practical applications for leading by example. 1. Treat others with dignity. Regardless of how someone behaves, maintain your composure. Respond with politeness, even when met with rudeness. This doesn't mean tolerating abuse. It means showing that you refuse to stoop to their level. 2. Be honest and fair. Speak truthfully, but temper your honesty with empathy. Balance your words with kindness, especially when addressing sensitive topics. 3. Practice active listening. When others feel heard, they are more likely to respect you. Listen attentively, nod in acknowledgement, and avoid interrupting, even if you disagree. A real-life example. Imagine a workplace scenario where a colleague habitually criticizes your ideas in meetings. Instead of retaliating with similar negativity, you choose to calmly thank them for their input and offer constructive feedback on their ideas when the opportunity arises. Over time, your consistent professionalism can shift the tone of your interactions, earning you the respect of both the critic and your peers. Actionable steps to apply today. 1. Stay calm in conflict. When someone disrespects you, pause and take a deep breath before responding. Reacting impulsively only escalates the situation. Show grace under pressure. In moments of public scrutiny or criticism, maintain your poise. Grace under pressure not only earns respect, but also demonstrates inner strength. 3. Be a role model. whether at work, home, or in social settings, exhibit the behaviors you want to see in others. If you desire honesty, be truthful. If you value patience, practice it. A Stoic perspective. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, the best revenge is not to be like your enemy. When faced with disrespect, let your actions reflect the kind of person you aspire to be. By leading with integrity, you set an example that others cannot ignore, even if they don't immediately follow it. Leading by example is one of the most effective ways to influence others and earn genuine respect. Your actions have the power to inspire transformation, not just in others, but also in yourself. By mastering these 5 strategies, you'll transform the way you handle disrespect. Each encounter will become an opportunity to demonstrate your unshakable character and deepen your sense of self-worth. The moment you stop seeking approval from others is the moment you become truly free. Disrespect is inevitable, but how you respond is entirely up to you. Through the lens of Stoicism, you've learned to detach from opinions, set firm boundaries, lead by example, wield the power of silence, and focus on your inner growth. These aren't just strategies, they're a way of life, a way to rise above pettiness and command respect effortlessly. If you found value in this, don't forget to subscribe for more Stoic wisdom that transforms your life, or watch the next video to dive even deeper.